What's going on, G-Ballers? I have an exciting new knife here to unbox for you, coming in from Ferramonster Knives. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome to GBall Vision. Drop a comment below. Let me know what your EDC is. This is going to be a brand spanking new release for Ferramonster. If you're not familiar with them, you will be by the end of today's video. This is called the Kroma, and this will be different than anything that we have seen. This will be different than anything we have seen from them in the past. It'll be more of a CEO gentleman style knife. And for the very first time, they are going to be offering a knife in LMAX. The original 3 versions we had from them came in M390. Then we saw a couple more models come out that came in M390. And very recently, they put out a knife in S90V called the Xandros. And now we have another new release. And this one is going to be coming in LMAX steel. We have a beautiful satin finish blade there, more of a straight clip point almost, and we are looking at anodized hardware. We have no markings on the show side of the blade. We just have their emblem here on the pivot. Beautiful milling pattern here on the titanium, sculpted and chamfered on the sides. Has a nice little contour to the handle. Titanium for our back spacer and our pocket clip there. It is going to be right hand carry only. We don't have any lefty love here. Great access to our lock bar there with a chamfer on both sides, and they chamfer internally there on both sides as well. It looks really clean for incorporating that chamfer on the show side. It looks really good. And then we are perfectly centered up there. The detent is beautiful on this knife right here. Already really clean, smooth closing action. And the studs, an interesting way to do this, but they actually have the studs, instead of mounting them from the sides like what we typically see from a thumb stud knife, they actually have it mounted on the top side of the spine there. So an interesting way to do that. And that'll actually be a nice little spot to kind of put your thumb up against there. If you're really going to use this knife or get into something with this knife, that'll be a nice place to really get a good grip on this feller. Now, this isn't a huge knife, but it's not a small knife either. Let's get a measurement here. We'll give it 6 5/8 overall, 2 7/8 of cutting edge, and 3 inches of total blade. Got a couple of knives here for comparison's sake. We have the Vastid Raccoon up top and the Kaiser Militol on the bottom. And 2 more, we'll do the Kaiser Drop Bear up top and the Spyderco Para 3 here on the bottom. And 2 more for you. We have the Daily Carico AI Slide up top and the Katuo Mini Griffin on the bottom. Move into a hardware check here with our off-grid driver. We have T8 for our body screws. We're going to be looking at T8 for our pocket clip as well. Everything is nice and tight. And then we have a T8. So we got T8. We have T8 hardware all the way around. And as long as you have good bits and a good driver, you will be in good shape. I always have the off-grid driver linked down below in the description. We'll bring our 50 ways baked in GBall Vision Hank out and see what this looks like. Standard milled clip, should look nice and clean in the pocket. You have a little bit poking out there, which is exactly what I prefer right there. You have a little bit of surface area to grab a hold of the knife and pull it out of the pocket. It has good retention, but it's not overly done. Pretty good spring in there and plenty of clearance underneath that pocket clip. I think one thing that would have really cleaned this up even more is having the lock bar relief cut internally. I think that would have even cleaned this up a little bit more, because this is a beautiful looking knife. And they got a bunch of different versions of this knife. So if you don't like this aesthetic here, I think they have an all blacked out version and a couple of others as well. We'll get the arch nemesis off the shelf here, and we'll give the Kroma a weight check. Now, I like to guess the weight of the new knives that come into the channel, and I invite you to play along. Put your guess down in the comments. Let me know what you think this knife weighs in at. Even if you already have a comment down there, the more the merrier. I'm going to give it a go here. I think this is going to be pretty light. We do have internal milling in there for weight relief on the show side. I think this is going to come in under 3 ounces. We did have 3 inches of blade there, but I think this is going to come in a little bit less. Let's say 2.8. 2.8, 2.9. Oh, how'd they get it that 2.5? Wow. 72 grams, 2.5 ounces, and 3 inches of blade, titanium handle, and all titanium hardware, 2.5 ounces. That is impressively light for this knife. Get the calipers out here and we'll get a couple of measurements on this handle and the blade. So we're looking at 0.49 for our handle thickness, 12.4 millimeters. We'll go to our blade stock thickness at the thickest part there, 3.1 millimeters and 124 thousandths. So very standard stuff right there. And we'll get a measurement on our behind the edge thickness. And we'll try to get a good hold. It's not a real tall blade, but it's still going to come down there about 23 thousandths, which is very average, I would say, but coming down pretty good considering we don't have a real tall blade. Let's see how this cuts out of the box. We have our catalog paper here. This is going to make a great gentleman style knife. It's lightweight, coming in fantastic materials, and this edge out of the box is going to be very, very nice. Woo! Look at that. That is a beautiful, beautiful edge. LMAX is a great steel, very well rounded in my opinion. It is one of my, it's like a top 5 favorite steel of mine personally. I really enjoy steels that are well rounded. I appreciate steels that are really good in one aspect or another as well. I think everything has a use case, but in general terms, I like steels that are good or are a good performer in each category opposed to maybe being excellent in one and not so great in a couple of others, right? LMAX is one of them steels that it's going to do you justice. Before we get into a lock check, let's take a close-up look at this. I'll give it a wipe down here, get my fingerprints off of it, and we'll get a close-up look at this one. It is a beautiful looking knife. It reminds me of something that my memory has seen before, but I can't quite place what it is. But this just kind of reminds me of something that I've seen in the past, which isn't a bad thing per se. This is a really good looking knife. We actually have some internal milling on the lock bar side as well a little bit there. I didn't notice that initially. So we have some weight relief here on the lock bar side. I thought that was solid. So that explains how they were able to get the weight on this very low. For a titanium knife, 3 inches of blade, 2.5 ounces. That is very, very lightweight. Let's go ahead and we'll see what the spine whacker has to say about this guy. Get old Spiny off the toolbox here, and we'll check this lock. Looks about 50% or so on the lockup, and let's see if we have any movement in there. Side to side, nope. Up and down, nope. We'll go ahead, flick this guy open, give it a couple of taps here to get us going. Couple of light taps just to make sure this bad boy is going to survive. Couple of taps there in the middle. Close it and check it. And it sounds really good. Yeah, for a lightweight CEO type knife, that has a rock solid lock up there. So that is exactly what we want to see. So these are going to be coming in at $215, which is a damn good price for this knife right here, considering it is LMAX steel, all titanium hardware and handles. That is a hell of a deal for this knife right here. Now, if this doesn't strike your fancy, they also just released a knife I was talking about earlier in the video, the Xandros here. This knife right here is the first time they used S90V, and I believe these sold out very quickly, like across the board. Now, I think they might have some coming back very soon. Those came in right around $240. I know a lot of people said this was their best knife that they've done, and I pretty much agree until I got this guy in my hand. I do like how this has the front flipper as well, along with the cutout. I like multiple deployments. So I would look for those to come back in stock fairly soon here going into the holidays. Really depends on what you're looking for. This is definitely more of a do-it-all knife right here, a gentleman knife. And the Xandros is more of a utility EDC, I would say. Another recent release for them is the Ferrix here. Really enjoyed this knife as well. Little minimal rear flipper, cutout, M390, nice carbon fiber. They also did them in full titanium. And then they also recently released the Spectrum here, which was their first crossbar lock, a DLC M390 blade. We have copper infused carbon fiber and titanium accent. And then we also have the Glideman here in a premium form. We also have it in a more affordable form. Fantastic design from Ferramonster. And then we have the Vulcan here, which really like this knife as well. Love the Nebula as the pivot collar, full titanium handle and accents, satin blade, M390. Love that they are starting to experiment with some other steels like S90 and LMAX. Beautiful job. We also have some older models, the Aurora Rays, and we also have the Urban Grip here. And this was and still maintains to be my top Ferramonster. I mean, this is really damn good. It's a great size. Love the front flipper. Everything is executed perfectly on this knife. And this is one of the first designs that they came out with. I think these run about $250 or so. And that's without any sales or any coupon codes or anything like that. I do have a 10% coupon code that'll knock 10% off. I have a coupon code that'll knock 10% off all of these knives. And I will have links to all these knives down in the description. You'll have to let me know, what is your favorite Ferramonster knife so far over the last 2 years? I look forward to hearing from you. Make sure you let me know what you think about the Kroma. You hit that thumbs up button. Always appreciate that. If you want to see daily knife and EDC content, make sure you're subscribed. I'll pop up a couple of new videos. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.